What's it like being in Glasgow or being an artist? It's big enough, diverse enough that you can do what you want really, and it's small enough. It's kind of like it's always kind of seen as being a bit of a village because everyone knows each other, and maybe it's not as maybe cutthroat as like a bigger city like London might be, where everyone's kind of you're like a small fish in a big pond in a city like that. Whereas here, it's a bit more compact, so you can really you don't have to try really hard to make a little bit of impact. It's not easy, but it's easier to make a bit of an impact. So yeah, when I was a teenager, I was like into graffiti and into like the hip hop culture and everything that came with that. And you know, my friends that I grew up with, we'd go out and we'd go and like go to like old like walls of fame, and as you call them, and go like legal walls, and we'd try and work up our skills using spray paint and stuff like that. And then you know, as the years went by, I started seeing like European graffiti, and they used a lot more stencils, and graphic design started coming into it as well. So when I left school, I studied graphic design for a few years, and then left that and didn't really try to get a job in the industry. I just kind of worked in bars and then did like freelance jobs for people. And then as it kind of picked up, it was going well, and then I was working in a bar, and then I worked up in the art school, funny enough, in the Students' Union for like 5 years. And that shut down, so we all got made redundant. And at that point I was like, you know, I don't want to work in bars anymore, because it was, you know, working late hours all the time, and you don't have the energy to be creative after like a 12-hour shift in a fucking pub. Can I swear? So then I just decided that I was going to try for 6 months to see if I could make a living just from painting. And then, you know, I started making a living off it, and I thought, you know, I don't need to work in a bar, you know, I can scrape by just being an artist. So the term jobbing artist is something that I refer to myself as, because I don't think a lot about the theory of it. I don't spend a lot of time thinking about the history and the theory of what I'm doing and what it really means, because I think that totally takes you off course and you go into a different place with that. So if you can balance it off, if you can be like super creative, and you can also use your creativity to do a job for someone, like as rigid as that sounds, I think that's the perfect balance, because it means you can feed yourself and you can buy your materials and you can pay your rent in a studio. So that's like the ideal place to be, I think. You can like, you know, I think as well with the street art background that I have a little bit is like super important, because you can spend, you know, again, you can spend your lifetime in your studio and doing your little thing, and no one ever sees it unless they like your work and they buy it. And if they don't like your work, no one knows your name. And if no one knows your name, you don't get any work. I've benefited a lot from, you know, the street art stuff I did in the past, and that kind of has a bit of a reputation that people might want to jump onto. And it's a good thing, because it has got me a lot of work, you know, and also being out there in the field and people seeing you, walking around with your dirty clothes and your ladders and stuff, and people seeing you out in the city, and they kind of know you're staying busy. And maybe strict artists tend to be kind of selfish in the sense that they're doing it all for themselves, but if you can show like a level of professionalism to someone, and you can turn up on time and you can meet your deadlines and things like that, it means that your name travels, you know, and people trust you, and they trust you to work well for them, you know. So yeah, if I was to describe my art, I'd say that primarily it's I work with typography more than anything, and that's good, because typography was always my thing. Like I don't think I'm a strong illustrator. I couldn't paint you like a watercolour landscape if I tried my hardest. So typography is where I'm more comfortable. And that's good, because I love graphic design, and you know, graphic design is pretty much primarily, not primarily, but you could say primarily typographic. When I'm painting for myself, I maybe try and find like an interesting quote that I like, so I'll see how the words and the letters fit together, and I'll go for there really. So if you're an artist, yeah, it's important that that the mediums you use cover all the bases. So it's good to have a grounding in physical art and physical painting, but also to take that a bit further, you kind of do need to utilise digital methods, so you go back to your packages like Photoshop and Illustrator and things like that can help you out and push you forward. But you need to work on the traditional aspects of it as well, and that's something that I always need to catch myself. So if I'm working on something for a long period of time and I'm not touching a brush or a pencil or a pen, I need to check myself and go back to that, because that's where it all has to begin, you know. And if you have that, if you have a strength there, then you can't lose, you know. The guys from Leveling got in touch. I think they'd seen my work before and thought it might suit one of their briefs. And so they sent me their idea of what they were after, and I liked it. So I'd sit down, sketch it out, try some different fonts and see what works. I came to the kind of conclusion of using almost like a handwritten typeface, cursive, because their logo is like a cursive logo, and I liked that. The quote itself, given that Alzheimer's is such a terrible thing to live with, is quite optimistic, I think. And so I didn't want to really go down the path of making it kind of dark, and so the colours are nice and bright, so it kind of juxtaposes the look of it with the actual message, and I think that's quite important. It can't be too dark or sombre, you know. Yeah, Bullet Beard, the name Bullet Beard came from me and my friend Joe. Used to draw comic strips and things like that, and one of the characters we came up with was a crime-fighting rabbi who had a big beard, but there was like a shotgun inside the beard. So whenever like there was a crime that occurred, he like parted his beard in the middle and like shot the bad guy. And so it was something that I came up with when I was a child, but it carried on, and I needed a kind of nom de guerre for my street art stuff, and that was just the first thing that popped into my head. And it's kind of like, it's not taking itself too seriously, it's kind of funny, and I try not to take myself too seriously, so it lent itself well with that. And the Bullet Beard is Dead thing was from that kind of quote that you heard around the last days of punk, which punk is dead, and I kind of took that, and I thought that it created like a narrative when you were putting that up on the street, because it was creating a statement, and who is Bullet Beard and why is he dead, and it just made, it had no real basis, but it was a tool to use that meant people had to stop and think about it. Is it like a threat, or is it a statement? Is it like a memorial for someone? And it kind of worked, because people wanted to know what the fuck it meant, so it worked.
That was brilliant, man. That was really good. that was the best one, yeah.